Hi, Jeff Ray here, President of the South Bend Regional Chamber. Sit down with Corey Noland. Corey is a current county councilman in District B for St. Joseph County, and also seeking re-election this year. Corey, thanks for sitting down with us today.
Not a problem. Thanks for the invitation.
So, Corey, you're no stranger to us as you've been around for a while. But for those that maybe that don't know you, tell us a little bit about just kind of your background, a little history. Who is Corey Noland?
Born and raised here in St. Joseph County. Grew up on the west side of South Bend, about a mile west of the South Bend Motor Speedway. Washington High School. Then went out to work. Started as an apprentice with IBW Local 153. Armin & was the contractor I worked for through my entire apprenticeship. As pretty much as soon as I got topped out, is what they call the move from a apprentice to a journeyman. I got picked to run for office within the union there, and over the years, that turned into the executive board. Then I turned into the president of the executive board. Then I turned into a long time as the president of IBW Local 153, which, and this will be relevant later, but that put me in a position where I was on a lot of labor management committees, and working through whether that's wages or whether that's a grievance or dispute or something like that. But it gives me a lot of experience that I use today on the council, but we might get into that a little bit later. Then married. Now I live up just north of Notre Dame, about a mile north of Notre Dame. Worked through the career there with different electrical contractors in IBW, and moved into management position for electrical contractors, and currently the president and CEO of Kuntz Wagner Services.
Great. Thanks, Corey. So yeah, let's get into the council stuff a little bit. So those that are unfamiliar with District B, can you just give us a high level about the general part of the geography that District B covers?
Well, one of the good things that came out of the redistricting, the process that we recently did, is District B is extraordinarily easy to visualize. So the state line to the north, St. Joe River to the west, Edison to the south, and pretty much Hickory to the east. It gets a little choppy on the east side, but it's pretty much straight line up Hickory.
All right. So Corey, before we get into more specifics on the council, let's talk a little bit more about just a council person. So folks aren't familiar sometimes with the local races as much as they are the bigger ones. Talk to people about what the job of a county council person is.
Well, over the years, what I've come to try, I think people tend to grasp it a little easier because, like you say, they tend to pay attention more to the national politics. So I tell people, if you can kind of consider that the St. Joseph County Council is Congress and the St. Joseph County Commissioners are the president. They're the commissioners of the executive body. The council is the legislative and the fiscal body. So what that means is all of the laws, all the ordinances, the zonings, and everything that runs through the county as far as any kind of law or ordinance change starts at the council level. And the fiscal body is the budget, $170 million budget that we run through every year, and all of the different departments. And I couldn't even tell you how many different line items are in that budget, but there's a lot of them. And going through all of those, and not just during the budget time, but also through the year, any changes that happen to that.
Great. Of course, share a little bit of your experience. So you've been sat on the council for a little while. You've had some leadership, posts there. Tell us about, kind of the view from the inside. What's the state of the county? How are things going there?
I think the state of the county is good. In fact, I would say very good. As far as the fiscal situation, or that we're in, the budget is very healthy. We were able to ramp up our reserves leading up to the fiscal cliff that ended up not be as bad as we had expected. Plus, we had some other benefits along the way, so we had an excessive reserve. We spent that down over the last few years with well-deserved raises. The people that were making cuts along the way leading up to that, now they've, it's raises to important departments. We've gone through, I wouldn't even say every department yet, but we've been through many, and maybe 2 departments this year got better than average raises and things like that, and other whether it's equipment or furniture, different things all over the place, that investments that we've made into those other departments. And we're still at this budget that we're going to be voting on in a week or so. We'll still have a 25% reserve, which is the highest you're expected to have.
Great. So Corey, politics gets a lot of attention, and I think of the local level where 9 council people, 3 commissioners, everybody has to come together on stuff. Talk to a little bit to your experience with sort of just people coming together. Obviously, you mentioned things like the budget and trying to get to some consensus on that. Talk about that process of bringing people together and how you get people to consensus.
Well, as I mentioned earlier about my labor management committee experiences, this is where that comes in. What I think, because I figured we'd get to a question like this. Um, I see myself as the chief arbitrator, and I'm not trying to say I'm the only one, but I'm certainly seems like I'm always involved with. If there's 9 council members, that means there's at any given time there's 35 different opinions, right? So somebody has to get those opinions together. Otherwise, there's a lot of people digging into the trenches and not wanting to change, and getting people to where we can agree on something that nobody's really happy with, but nobody really hates is my goal. And I see, from my opinion, is that I'm pretty successful with that. And it's been a lot of my experience from 30 years of doing this, because now I sit on the management side of those same committees. So I mean, I'm being able to view things from different perspectives and understand that people have to come at things from a different viewpoint, but getting a consensus is a lot better than us hiding in our corners and not getting anything done.
Yeah. So Corey, looking ahead at a new term potentially in the county council, what kind of priorities are on your priority list?
Oh, it's a lot of continuing the successes that we've seen to this far. We've got, it's certainly not just because of the council, but the council was involved in getting St. Joe County to a position where a $2.5 billion battery plant is even considering us for, that just unheard of investment level into our community. And, that doesn't happen with just the council. It doesn't happen with just the chamber. It happens, it's a group. It's a huge, all of those people, all of those entities are very important to get the county in a position where something like that, I think it's a very telling, a very recent telling of where we look to the outside community.
Yeah, great. Corey, talk a little bit about, we talked briefly about budgets, but let's go back to that for a second. And I do think you've made some great progress on this, but the line of needs is longer than the checkbook is, sometimes. And so, I think what you talk about being strategic and think about, speak to how you prioritize those dollars. I think, it's always interesting. I think people say, gosh, I want to spend more money on this or that or the other, but that's easier said than done because of available dollars. Talk to us how you balance all that.
It's I guess I can get a little political, and this is what the interview is about. Is it's sensible solutions for St. Joe County is the tagline for my campaign, I guess, and that's the way I look at it. Is we have to be reasonable. I'd love to be the guy, Santa Claus, and hand out dollars to everybody that needs it, but we can't do that and continue to provide the services and the infrastructure and everything that we have to do. So, a good example of that is the ARP money. So not too long ago, the federal government, for what we've been through the last couple of years, they sent St. Joe County $56 million. Sounds like an enormous amount of money. It didn't take long, and we had $250 million worth of requests from inside the county and from outside. And we're not done with that process, so I don't want to put any, a period on the end of what we're going to do or not do, but a percentage of that has been given to outside entity, not for profits and things that are going to, we believe they're going to improve and enhance the community, but we have to spend the bulk of it on the nuts and bolts of running the county.
Yep. So Corey, you're a business guy. Like I said, you're on the management side now as well. But and you mentioned Altium, a good example. So if you're talking to another business owner about why they should come to St. Joseph County, what would you tell them?
I think this falls just as importantly on businesses to remain in St. Joe County. When somebody has,
Right.
and I go back to probably the most prevalent example of that I recall anyways since I've been on the council was General Stamping Metalworks, which I think at the time they were General Sheet Metal was the
Yep.
name of them. It was I would consider myself driving force to get that to happen. because it probably wasn't going to happen. We were not going to give them what they wanted, and they were probably going to move to Michigan. Well, it's been a great success story. It's a great company. It's been here, I don't know, but a long time, 90 years, something like
100
that.
years.
100
Just
years.
celebrated
Yeah.
100, yeah.
So, and successes like that are just as important to keep our small businesses here in St. Joe County as opposed to leaving. But to tell someone outside to why they should come to St. Joe County, it's a lot of what we've been talking about here is the successes that we have and the support that we have for the infrastructure back to the ARP money. But $8 million of that is going to our roads. It's, infrastructure items like that are historic investments that nobody's seen. We can't even get it done in 1 year. It's going to take multiple years to get this done. And I've actually heard unsolicited from the public about, wow, I see a lot of stuff going on with the roads. And I tell them this story. Well, pay attention because the rest of this year and next year, you're going to see more of it. And that's investments like that. Not to try to suck up too much here, but I think the chamber does a great job of reaching out to the other entities and letting them know, that what we have here is a pretty good deal and you should consider it. It's a low cost of living and high as far as the values of the community and the involvement. You see more and more of the walkable communities and the green spaces and the things like that are, important to these other companies to consider places. You have to have something that makes you a little shinier than the other one, right?
Yep. So Corey, any challenges come to mind that, keep you up at night or have you worried that, that these are things on the horizon that we as a community need to be thinking about?
Another large part of the money that was spent, ARP money, was outfitting our police department, St. Joe County Police Department, with things that I would hope that we wouldn't have to outfit them with. We have to buy newer, bigger, better rifles and defense mechanisms and body cameras and all this kind of stuff. And I understand why they need them, but I think it's sad that they do.
Yep. Good. Corey, in our excuse me there, Corey. Sorry. In our last 30 seconds or so, somebody's undecided about Council District B. Give the elevator pitch on why they should pick Corey Noland for that spot.
I would say what I bring to the council is the experience and how to get things done, the knowledge of how the process works, and being able to work with and create the collaborations.
Great. Thanks, Corey. So, Corey, if we wanted to send people somewhere to find more about the campaign, Facebook or where would you suggest for them?
I would suggest it's CoreyNoland4CountyCouncil.com, but there's a shortcut. CN4cc.com.
Great.
And that'll take you there. That's a link to the Facebook. It's a link to all the information. You can get everywhere from there.
Great.
Actually,
Corey,
another important thing there that site is there's a link to all of the voter information, whether it's early voting or absentee voting or the polling locations on election day and all that kind of stuff. It all links to the county website, but it's all there.
Great. Corey, thanks so much for spending some time with us. Appreciate your service to the community. Good luck here down the home stretch, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you very much.